before we go any further, we got to make this clear. There's a thing called standard of living, which is how much good or services you can buy with the money you have. So this is where we get into poor, middle class, upper middle class, rich, okay? It's the amount of goods or services you can buy, okay? And sometimes what you think of as normal isn't normal. You know, you might think, oh, well, I'm used to getting the highest end product like this or whatever. That's your standard of living. And if, you know what, McDonald's is going to eat out and that's eating out nice, that's your standard of living that you're living in, okay? Now, quality of life refers to the general well-being of society in terms of its freedom, natural environment, education, all that kind of stuff. And it's connected to standard of living, but it's more encompassing, okay? But standard of living basically is a part of your quality of life. Okay, so let's take a look at the why standard of living is important to think about. So if I currently live in San Diego, and I used to live in Lubbock. So my current income, for example, let's say it's 50,000 here in San Diego. I would need to make 32,000 in Lubbock to have the same standard of living. Okay, so let's say I made, let's do something bigger here. So if I made 100,000 here in San Diego, I would need to make 65,000. NerdWallet has a great cost of living calculator, so you can pick other areas that you could go look at. I picked Texas. Let's pick somewhere else. So let's go Seattle. So Seattle, Washington. So if I make 100,000, I move to Seattle, I have to make more money to have the same standard of living. A great way to think of this is like when my family lives in the Philippines as well. There are people that can live on $100 a month. That's their standard of living. That's the cost of living. That's how they live. Okay. But yet we can spend thousands and thousands of dollars and have the same quality of life, the same standard of living. Okay. So that's how extreme it can be. Okay. So just keep that in mind. As you're going through, you might look at this, especially if you're planning on moving somewhere. You should consider this, especially if you're going from a smaller area to an even bigger city. So like if you go into Los Angeles, it's probably going to cost more. If you go to San Francisco, definitely going to cost more. If you're going to almost any town in Texas, it's probably going to be less. Like for example, for $600 a month, I was living in a 4-bedroom house, like almost 2,000 square feet. Okay, you could not find like a 800 square foot apartment in San Diego for even close to that much. Okay, so that's cost of living. Okay, so lots to take in. So right now, what is your money situation right now? What would you like it to look like? What would you like to buy, do, or have? What will you need? Think about the next 6 months, especially if you're graduating. Think about the next year, 5 years. So do that. Maybe take some notes for yourself, and then we'll come back in the next video and talk about a couple of people who have some really great plans to help you make those dreams happen.